Hi, everyone. Ed Robertson. Thank you for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. We'll be back with a brand new edition of TV Confidential later in the week. In the meantime, please enjoy this clip from a conversation you may have heard before, but probably haven't heard in a long time. Please enjoy.
Hi, this is Harry Shearer, and you are listening to TV Confidential, a radio show about television.
January 14th, 1990, The Simpsons began airing regularly. So
Still airing regularly.
And it hasn't stopped.
It's never stopping.
It will never end.
So I do want to make one little, for the timeline, because The Simpsons had aired their Christmas special,
right,
or also known as Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire,
right,
which aired before Christmas, but that was basically their pilot for the series.
Yeah, it was called. I think it was called the Simpsons Holiday Special.
It was that our Simpsons Christmas Special, because it has the two titles.
Yeah.
So if you look it up, usually they'll have both. But as a regular weekly show, it began January 14th, 1990. So but you basically got the groundwork from the Christmas episode to kind of see, because they were a little bit going to commercial on the Tracy Ullman show.
Yes. It's right.
So you had little snippets. So they would go to commercial. There would be like the setup, commercials over, you come back, and it would be like the punchline, and then you go back to Tracy.
I mean, right now, Harry Shearer voices half the characters in that show. At one point, it was Harry Shearer and Phil Hartman. Between them, they did like 90% of the voices.
And Phil Hartman wasn't a regular.
Yeah.
He would guest star as Troy McClure or Lionel Hutz or the monorail salesman.
Right.
So he would be on. John Lovitz would do several characters, meaning two. But just, the reoccurring characters. But Troy McClure, who was this washed-up actor, basically, I think, Troy Donahue and Doug McClure.
Right.
Who would be hosting the infomercial. So he might be in a commercial in one episode, or he might be the episode.
What was the show, McClane? Or it was like a takeoff of MacGyver. It's like McClane or...
Well, there was the McBain character, which is basically Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Vern Wolfcastle, that character. But, yeah, you had, the Troy McClure, which I don't know if there's any around anymore, except for maybe, like Adam West or William Shatner. But you did have that character who you knew the guy, but he had to remind you what he was in.
Yeah.
You may remember me from...
You see that a lot whenever you go to these autograph shows.
Yeah, exactly. He was that character.
Yeah.
And so I think there was great reverence to that, but you had Beverly D'Angelo and John Lovitz and a lot of people who have contributed to the show. Hank Azaria was a wonderful MC, and Azaria also is a dozen different voices there, from Apu to some of the more secondary characters.
Do the Quickie Mart.
Oh, he sang that. They sang "Who Needs the Quickie Mart." And they did the guy who did the Michael Jackson impersonation, who sang "Lisa, It's Your Birthday." Now, Michael Jackson did the voice speaking, but he did not sing. There was somebody else who did the singing.
Well, they did a Ouija board for that.
Yeah, but they did that. Tony Hawk was there. So there was a lot of different tributes paid, and it was a beautiful event. But as you were saying, it was this show is still on.
It will never end.
They had a marathon on FX.
It
holds the record now.
There's a special channel that's just devoted to The Simpsons.
I think it's called FX now.
FS or FXX.
Yeah, but FX did the marathon where they aired every episode. Yeah. And it took 7 days to run the whole run, each half hour. And it holds a record now for the longest marathon, TV marathon for a show. That's pretty impressive. I mean, it's such a great thing of Americana. And before we move on, since, this was on the Bad Boy Network and this was a Bad Boy show, I'd say Troy McClure is one of my favorites. Another one would be Ned Flanders. We know everyone knows Ned Flanders. If you don't know Ned Flanders, guess what? You are a Ned Flanders.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that person.
Oakley dokley.
Oakley dokley. Yes, that certain pep but also, let's say, his moral judgment of Homer and his interpretation of the Bible, and where even Reverend Lovejoy thinks he should dial it down. Right? You know that.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to you by PrisonFit. PrisonFit, a new, comprehensive, and integrated approach to exercise, food, and employment that was developed by prisoners, for prisoners, parolees, and anyone else listening to this program who would like to improve their overall health and well-being. You can learn more about PrisonFit by going to PrisonFitLife.com. PrisonFit's mission is to create work, programs, and partnerships that will provide both incarcerated inmates and released or paroled individuals with meaningful employment, training, rehabilitation, and reentry opportunities while treating them with dignity and respect. PrisonFit's main program, Introduction to Small Business, not only has graduated more than 500 in-prison students, but has produced a 2-year released graduate recidivism rate of 6.7%. PrisonFit will expand its Introduction to Small Business program on a statewide basis in 2025, and this is where you can help. PrisonFit is conducting a Kickstarter campaign throughout the month of January 2025 to offer the public various fitness publications and products. The proceeds from this campaign will not only complete and launch these publications and products, but will provide the necessary resources for PrisonFit's statewide in-prison Introduction to Small Business course. For more information, go to PrisonFitLife.com and click on the Go to Kickstarter button. That's PrisonFitLife.com. Click on the Go to Kickstarter button. PrisonFitLife.com. Click on the Go to Kickstarter button, or go to Kickstarter.com and search for PrisonFit. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. If you like what you hear, please consider subscribing to the TV Confidential podcast, or better yet, give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Podchaser, or wherever you listen to our podcast.